Good morning. This is DadSchooled podcast. I am Josh. That is Jimmy, and we are here.
We have made it.
We have arrived.
Successfully logged in.
Sometimes that's the hardest part in the morning, isn't it, Jimmy? Just
It is.
logging in. There's probably some deep metaphor we can get into on that one. We're not going to today. So I've had a busy weekend. Drove to Kentucky and back for a marathon with my wife. I did not run. My wife did, but I drove us there and occupied the kids. That was a fun time. That was my entire weekend, Jimmy. So it felt like I never left home. I felt like I left home.
Have you ever run a marathon too?
Not a full. I ran a half. And I believe it might have been on the same day my wife ran her first. And she finished very closely after I did. And I ran a half and she ran a full. So yeah, it was not very good. It rained the entire time. I bled from multiple locations and it was bad. Yes.
Oh no.
It was not good. I won't do that again.
Okay.
Unless, I don't know. Like I have like random bouts of insanity where I think I can do something again, like an actual marathon or a half again. But then I quickly remember the blood.
It's a good deterrent.
Yes. One should not bleed. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else. How was your weekend, Jimmy?
It was good. We tackled a few things around here and got to also just kind of take it easy a little bit. So nothing too wild.
You don't want to overdo it in your age, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay. So today's topic, this one can be kind of, I don't know, one, awkward to talk about. So we definitely will talk about it if it's awkward. It's also, I don't know, it's dangerous because from a husband from a husband's point of view and standpoint, this is like relationship ending topic if you're not careful, right? And I don't know how to say that any other way, maybe. But relationships have ended over improper use of internet for pornography viewing. I mean, it's a relationship killer in a lot of cases, and it's something that our teens and our kids are being exposed to at a younger and younger age. I absolutely never heard of anything pornography or internet related in the church growing up. And now there's two reasons for that. One, we're old as dirt, Jimmy, and the internet was being born when we were going to church when we were younger, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but you know what? As long as the internet's been around, this has been a problem on the internet. This is not a new topic for the internet, but in the church recently, I've noticed a lot of, at least in our church addresses it head on. It feels like, and it goes in waves. Sometimes there's some series where they talk about it more often than not, but they are talking and discussing about the problems that our youth are facing, and this is like youth talking, what, 12 and higher years old. I've noticed a couple sermon series that our church put together for that, and it's nice to see them addressing that. And from the reports that I hear from our youth pastors and whatnot, it is a big problem. Like a lot of kids in our youth talk about it and say they have problems with it. So we're not here to solve all those problems, but we are here for the dad community to at least talk about some of the things around this problem, and how we can do better as dads. Okay. So Jimmy, why do you think purity matters today in our families? Do you think it's important to have a pure family or pure anything? Enjoy that broad question, Jimmy.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. In the family unit is where all of these things that are going to be for your children's success in the future all starts. Their foundation comes from the experience that they have in the home. The experience that they have from their parents sets the tone, sets the direction for the types of decisions that they're going to make. What are they going to prioritize? What are they going to spend their time doing, seeing what are the just regular practices that are going on in their home as far as technology use, where in the home is technology being used. These are kind of things that are going to pop up. But purity in particular, I mean, that's our desire as parents. As we're raising up our kids, we want them to be successful in life. We want them to be successful in future relationships and have their own family. And in particular, this is a huge crutch that can destroy relationships quickly, easily. And it's up to us to help play our part in giving our kids the tools to be able to go fully live their lives. But yeah,
So
it's
I'm
tricky.
going to go off script right off the bat here, Jimmy, just to throw us all curveballs in life. And I was thinking about this morning while I was getting my coffee. So we really have two different problems to solve here, or there's two different ways to approach this, I should say. Uh, and we kind of wrestle with this as Christians every single day. Do we approach this from a worldly view or a Christian view? Because how you tackle this differs widely. You can get into whole morals without Christianity, blah 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 blah. But I think in the end, you'll always have a hard time living that out. But and I'm just thinking about our vast and great audience, Jimmy, of dads out there. You know, we would like to see every family and every dad as a Christian family, right, and Christian dad. But we're going to encounter those who are not, and that's okay. We still love them, but like this is a difficult topic, and to talk about the importance of why this is important to be pure in our lives, it has different meanings based on how you look at the world. So, what kind of values? Like we get a lot of our values from the Bible about ourselves. But what Jimmy, what do you think someone who's not a Christian, like how do you think they would think about porn and any kind of uh, body image shaming, not shaming, but body image degradation, I guess you call it. Do you think they have anything in their toolbox to draw from why this is good or bad?
I mean, I would imagine it's more widely acceptable or accepted uh, outside of church. Not to say that it isn't present in church communities, um, but it's so prevalent. It wouldn't be so prevalent if it wasn't so widely used and accepted in the daily life of someone out there, and lots of someones. So that, I mean, it's out there. And the sad reality is that more and more young people are being exposed to it early on in their life, when they're, early teens is the first time. And I can't remember the stats. I heard them not that long ago, but
I think it's like
is a
70%.
large,
Yeah, like 70%. I
a
hear.
large, yeah, a large majority of kids are being exposed to it. I think what I saw was before the age 13. It was a
Yes.
large majority of kids have already been exposed to it. And a majority of those times have happened outside of the home, that they're being exposed to it when they're hanging out with other friends. And so those are two big hurdles already that are stacked up against us as dads, just parents in general, that it's out there. It's so easily accessible. And nobody likes to be the helicopter parent that just hovers over their child everywhere they go and looking over their shoulder at all times. But it just that helps to highlight the depth of the challenge of what's going on in the world, and how the enemy wants to get its hooks in the hearts and minds of our young people. And he's got more tools at his resource now than ever before.
Yeah, I remember my first time seeing it in a public setting where there was kids that were looking at this material was my senior, maybe my junior or senior year of high school, on a band trip of all things. There was a kid, and this is like amazing with how much technology we didn't have back then. Like I barely had a Nokia phone that played Snake on it, right? But there are some kids who had flip phones or other phone. I can't remember what kind of phone he even had, but he had a phone or device that could play video on it. And he had something on it, and there was a group of kids at the back of the bus snickering and whatnot. And I'm like, "What's that?" Oh, whoa! I've never seen that before in this setting. So it was a shocking experience, and that was back in what 2002, 2003. It was insane.
Yeah.
But so look at like society. That's probably a good way to start with this. Is
we will solve society today on our podcast
yes.
episode.
Today, after we're done, we will all be better as humans. Yeah. But look at society, and you look at like music artists, movies over the years. Like you can't go back and look at a movie from the 90s without really assessing what's in it again. Past the rating system, like a PG movie or PG-13 did not mean the same as it does now. And even then, I would say, like the material they put into those, saying, "Oh, it's acceptable parental guidance up to 13." I wouldn't. No, there's some things in there that I question if adults should be watching, like, and how good it's for you to watch, and why are you consuming this material? It's not a normal thing to put the expectations out there that a woman should dress a certain way. It's not a normal thing to put the expectations out there that if you meet a woman in an elevator and she looks at you a certain way, this is going to happen to you. You know, this is not good for society to be taught that. And I feel like Hollywood and TV ads and everything have done a terrible job at grooming us to accept this reality and really just shuffle us into looking for more of that kind of stuff, mimicking that behavior in society, dressing certain ways, being okay with women walking around with everything hanging out. It's just like that's how it's supposed to be. Guys talking to women and treating them certain ways. I mean, we can go off on a long tangent here with this, but you know, in a nutshell, we've been groomed over the past 20, 30 years, I believe, by the media to accept this as a normal behavior. And it's not. Flat out is not. From a biblical standpoint that we will be taking, we see the human body as, you know, it said it's a temple. We are to honor, you know, we're made in God's image. You know, he made humans in his own image, and we're not to degrade that. We're not supposed to. I'm struggling for words today, Jimmy. It's Monday, but we're not supposed to destroy that. Or I mean, the Bible speaks about lusting after things and how important it is to. Let me correct that. It doesn't speak about lusting after things. It speaks about how you should react when lust is present. It tells you to flee from it. Right? What is it? Oh man, I should have had these Bible verses on the tip of my tongue before we started this today, Jimmy.
Oh, good.
Wow, that's terrible. The coat guy, Joseph. That's his name. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember when he was what was that?
No, Bathsheba's David. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. See, we're both
Potiphar's wife.
Potiphar's wife. Thank you. You know exactly where I was going with
we
that.
We don't know her name. Yeah.
Yes. But she is a wife of somebody, an Egyptian high official, right? His wife threw herself constantly at this guy, and he didn't just say, nah. He didn't flirt back. He wasn't playing nice. He ran from her. That's how serious this kind of stuff is. That's kind of more of a unfaithfulness and morality behind that, because it wasn't his wife. But in general, she was not being appropriate. You know, he fled. We saw how bad that was for the king, who looked at, was it Bathsheba?
That was, yeah, David and Bathsheba.
David and Bathsheba. I mean, he looked at her with lusting eyes. He destroyed a whole family. A guy ended up dying. He sent a guy to his death, and it was the downfall of. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people died because of that mistake he made. He had, and he also had a son with her, I believe, and that baby
Mhm.
died eventually. I mean, it is not something to be taken lightly, just to willy nilly, do whatever your flesh wants it to do. And I'm sorry, Jimmy, I am going way off left field on you this morning, aren't I? I'm just like, hey, Jimmy, this is what we're talking about, but I'm not going to follow this.
It's all good.
I'm just like picking and choosing here. It's in my mind. It's on my heart. Like I'm legit worried for our kids, Jimmy. Like you
Mhm.
have you have two beautiful daughters. I have two beautiful daughters. It's near and dear to my heart that I want to protect all of them from this kind of stuff, but I know we can't. And that's the kind of thing, like, as a parent, how do we prepare our kids that they're eventually going to have to deal with this on their own? We'll always be here, and someone will always be a support group, and we can teach them to have support groups for this kind of stuff. But how do you get to the point where you can be confident that they will be exposed to this and react correctly? So I
Mhm.
think the answer is, for me at least, and the hope that I have is that I can show them in Scripture why this is such a serious offense, why our bodies should be honored and guarded, and our hearts should be guarded against this kind of stuff. And I just hope and pray that they understand and hold the same importance that I do. Eventually, I have no doubt they will, but it's that beginning, because once you see something, you can't unsee it, right? So that's the other problem. Like, I'm sure there's parents out there right now who they've already been past the initial, like, it's in their house. They know it's happening. That's a different
Yeah.
topic of how to deal with that versus maybe not being exposed yet. Maybe we're both naive, Jimmy, and our kids have been exposed to it. That's another thing. It's a possibility. How do you deal with that?
All right.
But so I know you guys have a little bit more stricter internet usage policies than my family does, right? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah. Pretty. Everything's in the open is kind of our main role, or our main goal. That all screens are out, not in bedrooms. No one's locked away at night with any screen in their room, or during the day with homework time, even. Um,
Oh, maybe
so
we're not
we've
as
talked
different as I
before.
thought.
Yeah, we've talked before. My wife is a therapist. She does mental health therapy, and what she kind of more specializes in is couples therapy, working with couples, marriages, and that sort of thing. And a key point that she's really honed in on, I feel like just over the last maybe even just 1, maybe 2 years, but she's starting to see a trend. And I don't know if she heard this from somewhere else first, or if this is something that she came up with on her own. But either way, it's brilliant. But the number of families that come in that are having issues, whether it just be in the marriage between the husband and wife, or having challenges with their kids, in particular teens, is this concept of being what she calls being a living room family or a bedroom family.
Hmm.
And that's when you come home, if you're out doing something out of the home, the moment everyone is in the same building, in the same house, where are there family interactions happening? Is life being lived out in the living room, or does everyone just go immediately sequester them off in their own little holes around the house, doors closed, screens on, nobody knows what's going on, nobody's talking, no one's having conversations? And in a large number of cases, the families that are having issues, and whether it's issues just with communicating with your teen, or issues with your teen doing things online that they shouldn't be, because she's encountered those stories as well. The families that are living closed off from each other aren't having interaction. Um, Wisdom isn't being shared from the parent to the child, because they're just never in the same room, and they're never actually having deep, meaningful conversations. And the kids are able to just kind of be off in secret doing who knows what, and no one's checking in on them. Parents then are mystified, like, I don't know what's wrong with my kid and why they're acting the way that they're acting. And to them, it seems like it comes out of left field. Like, well, you've had no clue what's going on with your kids in their life. So that's been one of our main rules is our kids don't have a TV in their own room. They don't have a iPad in the room on their own. Our oldest does have an old iPod that has no access to internet, but we've put some music on it, but that's it. And so she can listen to music when she's doing homework. But yeah, we keep those boundaries pretty tight. And then when it comes to what we're watching on TV, movies or whatever, we're checking. Plugged In is a great website that does movie reviews. And there's other places you can look up like what information. If we're going to go watch a movie, we're going to watch a TV show, we want to know what we're going to encounter before it comes on. I mean, how many kids out there? I never saw it, but I heard enough stories about it. But how many kids when they were like 8, 9, 10 were family movie or family TV night? Let's sit down and watch Game of Thrones. From what I understand, that show has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And how many kids are, maybe that was their first exposure to stuff because, well, my parents really like these really exciting, and from what I understand, it's a really well done show as far as storytelling and special effects. Like, yeah, cool, good. But then they had to weave in a whole bunch of really challenging things. And yeah, I had friends that had kids in public school, and their kids would come home begging to watch it. Oh, my friends have seen it. I'm like, man, like, yeah, for a lot of families, that might have been the first exposure that their kids had. And like, well, now I'm going to try to look for more because I was really curious of what I was seeing while watching that show with my parents. And then they go secret themselves off to look for something else.
That's a good point. The whole closed door, and I didn't even think of the Game of Thrones, like the era, because I didn't watch it till it was already a done series, and I was able to watch it on my own at night, and there was a lot of content in there that I don't even watch with my wife, and that's on me. I probably shouldn't even have watched it, but there's a lot of content in there that is not appropriate for kids of any age. But it was a dang good, well done show, but they had some questionable content. I agree on that. Man. So the closed door, open door. Our family, we have we homeschool as well. We have our dining room was turned into our schoolroom. So instead of a dining table, we have desks that face the wall, positioned around the room, and their computers. Three older kids have desktop computers that I built for them, and their screens face into the room. It's very open, public. There's no hiding. And then we have one of my wife's older laptops is used. My youngest actually uses that for playing games with other kids. But it's in a fourth desk in the same room, very open. Same rule. No one's allowed to have screens or electronics in their room. My oldest son is the only one with a phone, but he has a Wise phone. If you don't know what a Wise phone is, it's like, yay, I got a phone, but I can't use it for anything useful except for calling someone and texting. It's a completely locked down Android phone. Has the Wise phone OS on it, and the only way to get around it is to like jailbreak it. Which, if my kid was able to do that, I'd give him probably a reward for being able to figure that out. So,
get him an early job in
I'd be like, dude, that was awesome. You lost your phone, yes, but yeah, that was pretty cool. No, but his Wise phone is pretty neat in the sense that it has Live 360 on it. Or Life 365, whatever the heck the app's called. I can't remember.
Right.
But that's our location app our family uses for where we're all at, and it's super useful. I use it all the time. My wife leaves someplace and is coming home, and I know I can have dinner started before she gets home. So it's really nice to be able to see that. And safety-wise, like, where's my wife at, she's with all my kids out at co-op. So she goes out there and there's an accident on the road, and I'm like, shoot, is she involved in that? I can see where she's at. So it's peace of mind for me. It's not like tracking or being creepy. It's a great app, and it's also accountability. It's on my phone. It's always on. She can always see where I'm going. There's no secrets in our household with that. So my son has it on his phone, so it's nice to be able to send them off to youth trips, and we can see where they're at. We saw when they were on the side of the road on their youth trip for 3 hours with a broken bus. We can see where he was. At least he was on the side of the road with a bus. We saw when he was at Buc-ee's for 4 hours straight in the youth trip, coming back when the bus broke down again on the same trip coming home.
That's a good place to be trapped. But
Yeah, they were at Buc-ee's for like 4 hours or whatever it was, but we could see him sitting there, walking around Buc-ee's. It was kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
So for cell phone wise, like I have his phone is not a concern. Like we're really happy with the Wise phone. It's actually way cheaper user plan than ours was to have him on. We had him on ours plan for a while, just added on to AT&T, and it was like, I don't know, I want to say 70 or 80 bucks a month extra. We actually recently switched all the carrier stuff over to Wise phone, and it is, I think, in the 20s or 30s a month. It's great, and there's like no data.
Wow.
There's like maybe 1 gig data. You don't need unlimited data plans with his because he doesn't have any data to pull back. He says text and phone call. They have a toolbox concept, and this is not like a sponsored ad for Wise phone. I wish it was. Wise phone, contact us, please. But they have a toolbox concept because their whole phone's premise is not to use your phone for anything that's not useful. It has to enrich your life. It's not a time sink. They don't even allow emails on your phone on this Wise phone. You can't even connect to it. So he has a calendar app, Google Calendar, which our family uses Google for everything for that. So it's great. He can see all of our family activities on there. And then he has Spotify, which is, you might question, but Spotify has bad things in it. Yes, it does. But it is a connected Spotify account through us. So we have a Spotify account. He's added on plan so we can see what he's doing. We can restrict age if we wanted to on things. And also, I have Bark installed on his phone. Bark is a monitoring app, which is great. It's a passive monitor, so it's not one of the active blockers, but it's a passive monitor that will notify me of what's going on. And if there's questionable material, it'll send me texts. I get texts all the time. He listens to Forrest Frank nonstop. And there is lyrics in Forrest Frank that are completely harmless, but if you take him out of context and he's talking about sin or other things in his life, it triggers Bark all the time. And I was like, ding, Forrest Frank song. I'm like, hey, it's good. But it's good to see that. His email, his Google Drive, he's 14, so he's passed the age restriction on Google for tracking things. I can actually track his phone with Bark now. My daughters, who are 12, I can't legally do that with Google's account because of all the legal stuff they have. But once he turned into 14, it opened up a whole bunch of doors for him, which is great. I get notifications if he had a play. He's in a co-op, homeschool co-op, and they do plays like twice or more a year. And the script in Google Drive was like, so-and-so pushes so-and-so on what was it? The Grinch, right? The Grinch, they push somebody. The action of pushing triggered a violent trigger on Bark for me to see. So it's like, it's almost overbearing, but for a parent, I like that. I like that peace of mind seeing the content he has. YouTube the same way. I can see YouTube videos he watches. I can just see everything listed off. So it's great. And because we have an open floor plan in our house, we're able to show all, there's no secrets. I can walk by and see him, whatever he's watching any time of the day. Exceptions we have for this whole thing. We do have some VR headsets, and that's difficult because VR is on their face. You can't see what they're watching. There are browser features in there that you can get to. So there's some parenting I have to do. I have an app on my phone. We have Meta, so we have the Facebook Meta VRs, Quests. Actually, all my kids have one. I have one that my youngest even uses, but all their accounts are on my phone. They're all locked down with age-appropriate content, and I can see what they play. I can see how long they've been on it. I can see what apps they open up. So, I mean, once again, it's a passive monitoring, and the reason I keep on saying that is because once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it. Once you see some of this stuff, you can't unsee it, and that's a problem. But there are ways as a parent that your kids can still use electronic devices and the internet and whatnot in a safe way. There's been a lot of hubbub and talk about Discord lately in our media. Discord is a communications app that's primarily used. First, it was used by games and gamers to talk while you're playing games. It's since then expanded to more of a social media platform, I would say, but it has chat and voice and video features built into it. You can communicate. It's like any other social media app nowadays, but it still is primarily used for video games, in my opinion. But companies are creating more Discord accounts now. See us on Discord. because I know that's where a lot of people are. Esports is huge in America and in the world, actually. Uh, I have my own Discord. It's free to do, but I have my own Discord server locked down. I have a Regenski family Discord server that only our family can get to. Only my kids are invited to, and their closest co-op friends and some of our friends from church. So all of our kids can be on there and play games together and talk to each other and chat and send goofy little screenshots to each other. And it's a safe environment that I invite their parents to also be a part of and monitor and see, so they can watch what their kids are doing. There's no hidden things on this app. It's open. You do have the ability to friend and instant message people. So as a parent, you still got to watch your kids with it. And that's why the open floor plan is nice. And being in control of your kids' Discord account is always advisable, in my opinion. You should have their login and log in frequently and see what they're up to. You know, that's a parent's right to do that. Protect your kids. But yeah, so using all those things, I feel that we do a decent job, but there's still the possibility is always there because they're on the internet, and you know, if I'm not watching for 1 second, they could turn and do something. And I talked about Bark. I have that on all their computers as well. It's you can go computer level, device level. They have we use a Chrome. There's a Chrome plugin on their browser that's a Bark plugin, and I get notifications for any websites they go to. I have age restrictions built into Chrome that I have turned on the websites. They're not allowed to go to random websites without talking to me. They know that, and they're in the open setting. So things happen. They know that they can always talk to me and say, "Hey, Dad, I clicked on something. It took me someplace I shouldn't have been." But for the most part, you know, the most violent thing my kids look up online, or most questionable things they look up, is like how to destroy the Ender Dragon in Minecraft. And I'm like, man, that triggered on Bark too. I'm like, what the heck's an Ender Dragon? You know?
Yeah, we're looking at phone options right now to try to sort out. So we're like in that which one's going to fit the needs of our family. We've seen the Wise Phone. Gab is another one that's out there similar, and then Bark actually also releases their own phone. If you want to just go through Bark, they do basically the same thing. We have some friends, and so I've got friends that I have a friend with a Gab phone for their teenager. You guys have a Wise, and we have another friend with a Bark phone. So I've gotten to like kind of pick the brains of all these different parents before we figure out what we're going to do. But we have friends that have a Bark phone, and we were talking to them over the weekend that they've gotten the notifications when the mom is reaching out to their son, their oldest. She's reminding him to take his vitamins, and they get a notification someone's pushing drugs on your child, and then she had to like give him a stern prompting to finish his homework, or he was going to lose some privileges or something like that. And so then like, oh, someone's bullying your child.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm getting the notifications of all of these things that are happening, and it's always me. But those are the sorts of things like you want to know if someone that's in your approved contacts list is, you know, talking to your child. Like you want to know that sort of stuff. But I feel like one of the things that needs to be talked about with just the porn issue in general is, you know, just what is its draw? It has such a hold and such a draw on so many people. And we can put up all sorts of barriers, and we can put up all these different hedge groves, so to speak, in our life, all these barriers that can try to prevent it. But then what's going on in the heart is also just so much of the particular issue. And I know for a lot of men in general, and this would be even the case with teens and whatnot, obviously there's the rush of, you know, something new, something exciting, and all of that. There's all of that. Then how does it turn into an addiction? How does it turn into an ongoing prevalent issue that you just can't seem to shake? And I know from my own experience, it was always a challenge for me it was a control thing. That if something going on in life, like I just felt like things were out of control. Here is a scenario where I was in complete control. You could summon anything up where you're the one in charge. And essentially you end up as a way of living life through an avatar where you're not there. Someone else is there doing things. You're not present. You're not there. but I felt like I had this cotton candy sense of control,
It was a
where it was
buffet line.
exciting.
It was a buffet line
Yeah,
of
right. Yeah, and
whatever you thought of, you can get to.
you can find, and yeah, endless buffet. Um, but um, but yeah, it's someone else is living the adventure. Someone else is. It's the same thing where you. This is an unpopular opinion on my part, but it's something I've put a lot of thought into. I feel that not so porn would be the one that's linked to sexual immorality, sexual sin, all that sort of stuff. But what can be just as addicting because of what it's doing to your mind of you're not the one there, but it makes you feel powerful or exciting. But video games and being a sports fan can be just as addicting. You're passively sitting and observing someone else's grand adventure, someone else's great accomplishment, and it can be just as addicting that you're not actually on your own adventure. You're not, like, as the kids say, go outside and touch grass. Like, you're not out there doing the thing.
Huh.
But you get so entwined, you get so deeply rooted, and the enemy can just sink his hooks in so deep, by giving you this virtual life that you aren't actually present or a part of. You are not an active participant. You are a passive observer, and it can feel exciting. All these things. So that's my challenge that I want to give dads. I want to give parents in general. Give your kids something real and tangible to be excited about. Start going on hikes. Go find a hobby. Like, I don't know, my brother and I, we loved putting together model airplanes when we were kids. Like, that was a thing that we loved doing. And hopping on our bike. Like, this is another thing. The world is different. Like, we would hop on our bike and ride all the way across town. We didn't have a phone. We were free range kids. That was a totally different world, I think in the 90s. But yeah, give your kids something to be adventurous, something to be excited about, or else they're going to find something that does excite them. We're drawn to what excites us. And if it's not something real and tangible that we can go be excited about and be, especially for boys, to have an adventure, if we don't have something already there, we'll find something, or it will find us, and we'll get hooked into it. So that's my unpopular opinion, but I feel like that's a part of the root of what is going on in a lot of hearts and minds of men and young people in general.
So that's an interesting viewpoint on that with the video games, because as you know, I'm an avid video gamer myself, and our family loves, actually, my girl, everyone in my family except for my wife, everyone except for my wife in my family loves playing video games together. That's something we enjoy. We play, the kids play Minecraft all the time. There's some Roblox games that they play. They're not allowed to free roam Roblox. They understand the dangers behind that, and we watch them on that. One of my daughters, I don't quite worry about, because all she plays is this like open animal savannah game on Roblox, but she's an animal or a tiger or a crocodile running around and killing other animals, and that's all she does. It's like, yeah, that's great. And she always, it seems harmless enough. And you still got, even then, you still got to watch what they're doing. You got to watch who they're interacting with. And we have a no texting, no typing, no chatting rule in our house. The first thing they do in any game is disable the chat or hide it or take it off the screen so they can't see that stuff. But it's still it's an active. It's hard to keep up with as a parent. But for what's important, you make time and you do what you need to do. And I've taken that, the alternative is no video games, no entertainment like that at all. And for my kids, I know they enjoy it. And that's why it's interesting what you just said about video games and gaming being just as addictive as porn. You know what? I can see that. I can see that draw. As a kid, when I first was introduced to video games, I would go down in our basement for hours, like a whole day.
Mm-hmm.
If I was off from school, my parents wouldn't see me all day. I'd be downstairs in the basement playing on the computer. We had a Packard Bell 100, Pentium 100, and it was Windows 95 at its greatest. It was amazing. I learned everything on that computer. and it was addictive. I'd play for hours, and then once I was able to connect via modem via modem to one of my friends, we'd play Doom or Duke Nukem 3D, all the shooter games. We'd play all those together for hours, and the only restriction was like the phone line be tied up for hours, and my parents were like, "Get off the phone," because you're using the
Yeah.
modem for the phone.
Well, that's why I can speak on it so confidently. Is that was my story too. Like I
Yeah.
absolutely my teenage years. I was for me it was a Sega Genesis, and it was all the games, play them all the time. I was overweight, wasn't active, and thankfully once I got into college, and my roommate that I had in college, like he and I were avid outdoors people, hiking, mountain biking, canoeing, caving, all these things. And I finally I lost weight because I was a little
Moving.
big when I was in middle school because of all of but I can speak from it because that was my experience. That
Mm-hmm.
was what I longed to do, was just get same thing back down in the basement. That's where my video game console was. There was a thing called Sega Channel
Mm-hmm.
where the Sega connected to our coaxial cable because we had cable, so then we could plug it in. Every month it had 50 different games that would
Ooh.
download onto the Sega. And so then every month I had this new buffet of games. And that's what I learned about myself, is that I can be easily addicted by
Mm-hmm.
distractions, by whatever is like that, whatever I allow in to be a distraction, to be a false excitement. I get sucked into it. And so I don't have any game. And this was just a choice I had to make for myself. The last video game console I owned was the Sega Genesis. It started out because I was poor, so I just never bought anything else. But I know it just sucks me in. I don't have any games on my phone. I don't have any games on my computer because I just know my personality that it would be an issue, and it's been tough. Like even just like it'd be sitting somewhere and watching someone. Oh, Angry Birds, that looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just even that, like, oh, I could download that. I'm just sitting here wasting time waiting, in the doctor's waiting room or whatever. I could be, I could play something just for a few minutes, but yeah. I mean, so all of that, looping back into our conversation over porn, like it's anywhere the enemy can give you that distraction and make you feel powerful, make you feel strong. But like I was saying, it's cotton candy. It's not steak. It's something
Yeah.
that for the moment, it's an exciting hit, and then it fades, and then you have a crash out, and then you feel terrible about yourself, and you're beating
Yep.
yourself up. Like, oh, I had a list of chores I was supposed to do today. All these things, I could have been productive. I could have gotten things done, and I ended up playing. I don't even know what's popular now. World of Warcraft.
Not popular.
Like I ended up like I spent the entire day just doing that, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
scrambling to try to finish my homework, or whatever's going on in someone's life. You got to know what has its hooks in you before you got to have an honest conversation with yourself. What is a hurdle? What's a challenge that's keeping you from living the life that God created you to live? And yeah, I mean, that's why I never got on social media. I have a Facebook page. I have no connections
Yeah.
on it. It
I'm
just
still
sits
waiting
there.
for you to reply to me on there. I hit you on
I
Messenger like
don't.
a year ago, and you never said anything back.
I never, because I don't say anything to anybody, because I know that's an area. If I started doing social media, I would doom scroll. I would sit there
Yeah.
and I would just endlessly just do the thing, and I would have carpal tunnel syndrome from my wrist just doing this all day long. I know that would be a problem for me. And now I'm just the crotchety old man. It's just like, I'm just never gonna do it. I'm cranky and stubborn now. But I thankfully I never got into social media back in the day, and because I know that would be an issue for me. And
Yeah.
it's not to
So
say like I have everything figured out and I'm perfect and all the things, but um, that's my challenge for people, is take an honest assessment of what you've got in your life that might have a hook in you. Once it's in, it's harder to get it out, but start taking a critical eye and start looking at what's your time suck in your life.
yeah, that's a great angle. And as adults, as parents, as dads, we can see those things. We might not want to admit those things, but we can definitely see this is an issue in my life. I struggle with fill in the blank, um, whether it be sports. If you cannot get enough sports and you have to get back and see the game, as you might consider that fun. Everyone does sports, right? But really, what are you giving up, and what are you putting off in your life so you can watch that game? What message are you showing to your family? Get out of my way and be quiet. I'm trying to watch these guys run around on a football field. You know, I'm not saying
Yep.
that you can't watch a game and enjoy it. I'm not saying you can't play a video game and enjoy it. I try to structure everything with our video game playing around how do you act to somebody else, because that's something I picked up on a long time ago playing games. Is your attitude changes, and you will screw people. You'll be easily just agitated. You'll have zero social skills. I grew up with some people who were video gamers as well, and they were, I'm not gonna say like socially awkward, but they were socially awkward. They didn't always speak out in a crowd. They didn't always know how to handle themselves in a crowd. Several people I grew up with in middle school, I can think of a couple that had that problem, and they were always just like the outcast. They're very intelligent people, very smart, but they just didn't have that social interaction, I believe, because they were behind a screen all the time. And I we were blessed to have a lower income family as my household. So when our computer broke, I didn't have that anymore. I had to go to a friend's house to play video games. So for a while, I was seriously addicted, and then I had big withdrawals, and the computer broke, and we had no computer. Um,
Yeah.
and it wasn't something we had to get a new computer. So I think it was very early on in middle school I lost a computer, and then like the second half of middle school and all high school I had no computer to play with. So I was able to build model RC planes with my dad, do model RC car racing with my dad, go on trips to boat races with my dad. The different things we did, my dad and I, more. We rebuilt a '77 Jeep in our backyard. We got in the garage and did things. So to your point, like that was like a good thing for me to get away from that. Now,
Mm.
after high school graduation, after basic training and Air Force, and coming back home to college on my own, it was a culture shock that I bought my first computer myself and had a college with full internet access, cable access by myself in a college apartment by myself. Some dark things
Mm.
happened in that in that college room because I did not handle myself, and I was like thrown to the wolves. We didn't have cable growing up because we just didn't have it. We had normal 3 or 4 channels that we can get with a TV antenna. So
Yeah.
having full access to cable and all that material, full access to internet, all that material, I went off my rocker. I went psycho for a good couple of years by myself at college. The only saving grace was I had a girlfriend slash fiance at the time, my wife now, that I was even more infatuated with more than that stuff. So I was able to break away from that addiction and go see her because always wanted to be around her. So and she was in a different college than I was, so it was like an hour and a half drive from my college. I constantly was kind of going back and forth between the two colleges. So that was a saving grace for me. But anytime I was home, I definitely felt, or at the dorm by myself, I definitely felt that pull just to go to the computer and waste time. Um,
Mm.
so all that being said, I'm very, very cautious of how that time is spent with my kids when they are doing internet. I'm cautious about the material they watch. When we play games, if I hear them start to bicker, I will stop them and get them off the game and be like, "This is not how we talk. When we play games, we build each other up. We work as a team. We accomplish goals, and we destroy the opponent. We are efficient, and we are a good gaming family. We're not going to yell at each other and blame each other, and those are negative things. You can see your kids getting into those pathways when they're playing games or doing things. You can see them start going down that path really fast. So it's a good teachable moment for me to constantly have to talk to them about that stuff. But you have to be an involved parent, and this is our theme we've always had. You have to be present as a dad. You have to take control of the situation, and you have to um, you need to be logged into your kids' accounts. Make the accounts on yours. You have to have that control. You can't just let them go off and do it because you understand it. You are an adult. You can figure it out. And if you can't, message us, dadschooledpodcast.com. Go to the bottom, contact us. Say, Josh, how do I do XYZ on this? I will be glad to help you and walk you through it. Just reach out to me. I know Jimmy also knows how to Google things, and he can help you too. But it's being present and putting the effort in as a dad. That's like most of the battle in anything we do, because we know our own shortcomings, our own battles that we fight. Your kids are fighting these too. If they're not yet, they're going to. So you got to think in your mind, how can you prepare your kids to tackle your shortcomings that you face every day? Because they're going to face them if they're not already facing them as they get older. So really quick, we got to wrap up, Jimmy. What is our what the heck are we doing, Jimmy? What is our dad challenge this week?
We're on bullet point number 1 still. I think.
Yeah, we didn't do anything on the script today, which was great. It's a great conversation.
I think it's so good.
Yeah. But our challenge of the week, let's just say, man, none of these apply anymore. Maybe set digital boundaries, right? Look at your house and see what your kids are using. Our first kid, we have 4 kids. Our first kid, we never let them use a cell phone or anything at a restaurant because we're the parents that said our kids aren't going to be sucked into screen time. It didn't last very long. As soon as we figured out that you can put on some kind of stupid cartoon show in front of your kid and you can have a normal meal again at a restaurant, we did that. Look at your kids, no matter how old they are. Is there some kind of digital boundary you can start implementing? Whether it's a bedroom rule, no electronics in your room, because bad things happen when you are by yourself alone and doing things you should not be doing. I should not be staying up late until 2 a.m. watching movies, because when I do that, I tend to look for things that I know my wife wouldn't want me watching. It's something you got to be very careful about. When I stay up late, I got to make sure I'm working on something. I have a lot of extra coding stuff that I do, and if it's not in a game like Star Citizen that I do enjoy, and that's like my hobby is playing some kind of video games, but like some space simulator I like. If it's not in there, which I know is safe for me to do, and I'm just surfing the internet, I gotta be really careful. And there's sometimes I catch myself just like Jimmy said, doom scrolling, just going through different YouTube, Facebook, whatever links, and you find yourself places you shouldn't be, and you just gotta get out of that situation and go to bed. Your kids are the same way. That's a long-winded way to say this, but your kids are the same way. They should not be sitting there for hours on end just they don't be doing that. And if they're doing that in the room late at night, they're going places they shouldn't go. I guarantee it.
So seeing whatever the algorithm thinks that they need to see next is what they see next.
Yes, that's another whole topic we can cover.
Sorry, I didn't mean to open another can.
Yeah. Well,
so,
you know what?
Anyway,
I'll do that one.
Set that one aside.
We'll do that one in the future, Jimmy. That's a good one, actually. How targeted we are. I'm targeted, triggered and targeted. That should be a shirt. Triggered and targeted.
That's it.
So set some screen time rules and see what happens in your family. Maybe try board game. Try board game as a family and see how that improves.
We'll give recommendations on board games too.
Yeah, the DadSchooled.podcast.com. We have great board game recommendations. If you hate them, that's your own fault, not ours. Start honest conversations with your kids and open the Bible. Open the Bible and just work through something with them. It's easy as that. It's something we all can do better on, is opening the Bible more with our kids. Get in the routine of doing that when you have conversations, when you have difficult conversations or arguments with the kids, or you're trying to tell them something. I got this advice last night from a good friend of mine. Don't feel bad about circling back with your kids on something. Like if you have a conversation with them, you don't have to have a Bible verse or Bible passage pulled out right now. But you know what? As a parent, it is your job to make sure you are taking care of them spiritually, especially dads. Circle back, do some research. Look up online, even if online or through friends or whoever, what covers this in the Bible and why is it important? Why is this something that we should be careful of, whatever topic it is, and then bring it back up with your kids. And that shows to them that you have their spiritual security in mind. You are working with them. You are being the dad you should be. So come back and bring up and say, hey, we talked about this yesterday. Look this up and hey, this is a great thing we talk about. I found this passage and have a conversation. So being present, having conversations, being mindful, setting a digital boundary. There's your massive book of homework for all of our, Jimmy's mom and everyone else viewers out there. Closing thoughts, Jimmy. Do you have a list yet?
Do the things.
You didn't make a list. Okay.
That's gonna be my closing thought every week.
All right. That's all we have today. We will come back with our. I'm triggered already just on that topic. Triggered and targeted. We're gonna come back with a new topic next week, and it might be triggered and targeted. We'll see.
Who knows? Might be gardening. I don't know.
Might be gardening. That's right. Probably not gardening. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.